This seminar is going on YouTube, baby. So glad that you guys are here because this is the second day of our free seminar series. If you guys were not here on the first day, don't worry. The recording of the first seminar is on YouTube, by the way. So, what was the lesson that we did in the first seminar? You guys know we did a classic. We did a poem under the theme of nature, right, Sethumi? And it was To the Evening Star. Today also, we are going to do another student favorite. We're actually going to cover 19 out of the 20 poems in this seminar series. Hell, we might cover all 20 poems, who knows? But for now, I am sure we are going to cover 19 out of the 20 poems in our seminar series. So this is a free seminar, Rehana. So in this seminar, we are going to be doing Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. Apologies. We actually completed Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. Apologies. Not To the Evening Star. You're right. We actually completed Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. That was the first poem that we completed. Like I promised you guys, we are going to cover 19 out of the 20 poems. That's a huge undertaking. That is a huge mission, and don't worry, your Javed sir will help you cover. Your Javed sir will help you in this journey. So how do you find us on YouTube? You know it is Lit Master. If you guys go under YouTube and you look for Lit Master, you guys will be able to find our YouTube channel. There we go. So, boom, we completed Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree last week. Today also, we are going to cover a seminar. We're going to cover in this seminar Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. You guys can't forget, we have valuable printed tutorials. Now, for example, we have printed tutorials for the window of sweets. If the window of sweets is your novel, you guys can grab this, join Javed sir's classes. We have printed tutorials for the lumber room, the Lahore attack, To the Evening Star. Many of my students have gotten these printed tutorials. We have a valuable workbook. This is the only workbook for O-level literature in Sri Lanka. It's an actual workbook. Not only that, but our tutorials are in full color, right? Fully colored, loaded with a lot of exam-friendly information. So if you guys want these, you can join our classes. My students regularly get free tutorials. If you guys can give us a support by sharing the link with your friends, the seminar link, with your friends in free groups. So many of the students might have forgotten that we have a free seminar today. Regardless, so proud that you guys are here because we are going to be covering Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. It is a poem under the theme of society. Now, how many poems do we have in our syllabus? Remind your Javed sir, how many poems do we have in our syllabus? You guys might know that we have 20 poems in our syllabus, right? Absolutely, Ilma. There are 20 poems in our syllabus, and these 20 poems are broken under 5 themes. By the way, remember, we are going to cover all 20 of these poems, okay? I can guarantee 19 out of these 20 poems we will cover in this free seminar series. If we can, right, if there is a opportunity, we will try to complete all 20 of these poems. So these poems fall under 5 themes, right, Ilma? These 20 poems, they fall under 5 themes, right, Wasim? What are these 5 themes? Your Javed, sir, has reminded you. All right. At the moment, good question, Wasim. So this is a seminar series, and we have only completed one thus far. And in this free seminar series, the poem that we completed last week, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., it is none other than Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. This is a grade 10 poem. Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree is a grade 10 poem under the theme of conflict. But today, we are doing Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. Richard Cory is the poem that we are going to cover today. It is a simple poem, but there are some complicated concepts that you have to learn if you want to get full marks in the exam. Everybody here can get an A for the exam. All you have to do is follow Javed sir's advice, Javed sir's plan. So Richard Cory is a grade 11 poem, but don't worry, even grade 10 students can learn a lot about this subject through Richard Cory. But you have to identify the theme of Richard Cory. What is the poetry theme? I think everybody knows here, Ilma, right? Everybody knows Wasim. You're right, Rehana. It is society. Society is the theme, the poetry theme of Richard Cory. It is a poem under the theme of society. Right, Ahmed? Now, we actually have 5 themes in our syllabus. They are schooling, SCHLN. What does schooling stand for? Society, conflict, humor, life, and nature. These are themes. Now, you might ask me, Ado Javed sir, what do you mean by a theme, right, Zainab? You might ask me, Ade Javed sir, what the hell do you mean by a theme? A theme is an exam idea. That is what a theme is. A theme is an exam idea. That means if you want to get marks in the exam, you have to understand how the theme works. Now, for example, everybody here knows that Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson falls under the theme of society. Now, you guys know what society is. That is a community, right? A community of people that have constructed a bond. There is an invisible bond between humans in a community, and that is what we call society. You can't live without a society, right? Now, if you live in society, you have to follow certain rules. For example, you have to wear clothes, right? You have to have your hair in a certain way, right? Now, can I dye my hair pink color? Will society, the society I live in, will it allow me to dye my hair pink? Absolutely not, right? The society I am a part of will judge me, right? Society is judgmental, right? If you guys like, you can even write this word down, judgmental. Not mental, judgmental. Society is judgmental. Judgmental means it will not allow you to live your life the way you want to. It will judge you, right? Now, for example, if you are a Muslim girl, you have to wear the scarf, right? You have to wear the hijab, right? You can't wear bikini, right? You can't go to the swimming pool wearing bikini, right? And bikini bottoms. You have to operate according to society, right? You can't run around, right? You can't run around the road saying, right? You can't run around the road saying ummaholics. You can't run around the road shouting profanities. Holics. Oh, I said holics, by the way. There's something called mother holics. Have you guys heard of it? Holics. Holics. I love holics, by the way. Holics. 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 Right. I love holics, by the way. You can't run around the road saying ummaholics, right? Because society will judge you, right? So you have to operate according to the laws of society. There are invisible laws, by the way. There are unofficial laws that you have to follow. So this is a very strong theme. What does that even mean? It means motherholics. It means motherholics. See, there's something called motherholics plus mother's holics. So you can't. You have to operate according to the laws of society, right? If you're a man, you can't dress up in a sari, right? In your society, in the society you are in, I can't dress up in a sari and start teaching. So there are rules that you must follow when you operate inside a society. And that is what this theme is about. How many poems do we have under the theme of society? Can you guys refresh my memory? How many poems do we have under the theme of society? We have 4 poems. Once upon a time, I know why the caged bird sings. Richard Cory, and then we have Big Imagine 1983. Rehana, you are right. There are 4 poems under the theme of society. Why the hell do we learn poems? Why should we learn poems? Because you will get 25 marks. 25 out of 100 marks. If you learn the poetry genre properly, if you learn the poetry part in your syllabus properly, you can get 25 out of 100 marks. That means quarter, right? Quarter of your paper is constructed on poetry. So you guys know Javed sir teaches literature properly. I'm the most qualified literature teacher in Sri Lanka. I'm currently following a UK Masters in English. I am a registered UK examiner. On top of that, I have published many workbooks. I am still publishing workbooks that you can buy from many bookshops. So you have come to the right place. And if there are students who don't have money to buy these workbooks, I think this is 1,000, by the way. If there are students who don't have money to buy workbooks, you can drop me a message. I will send you for free. Many students have received free tutorials in Javed Sir's. If you are Javed Sir's student or not, so I'm here not to make money. By the way, I mean money. Yes, this is my job. I have other jobs as well. This is like one of my income streams. but I'm here to teach you actual literature. That being said, once you learn this lesson, you will have the competency to get good marks in the exam. So, speaking of getting good marks, we're going to talk about a valuable tool. Okay, now, Javed sir is going to give you some secret tools. Even you received higher. I'm not lying, by the way. Okay, some of you might think I'm lying about sending printed tutorials. Here's a message by a student. Even I received. There you go, right? So many students receive printed tutorials. I mean, this is my income stream, but I try to give you free printed tutorials and free workbooks. So this is one of our workbooks. We are working on more workbooks, okay? We're going to have like 10 workbooks for O-levels and A-levels. So these are free, by the way. Some of these are free, not all of them. So if you guys want these, then you have financial difficulties, you can drop me a message. I will try to help you the way I can. Remember, I'm one man. I don't have an organization behind me. I'm just one teacher trying to change the educational landscape of Sri Lanka. And by the way, if your novel is The Vendor of Sweets, we have a tune for that also. If your novel is The Vendor of Sweets, this is the only The Vendor of Sweets colored tutorial in Sri Lanka. You know where to get them. Drop us a message. Coming back to the point, so we are going to talk about, even you received, there you go, even Ilma received, right? So I'm not lying, by the way, okay? If I tell you that I send printed tutorials, I send them, right? You guys know, right? Javed sir does Solvardan, Seven, Solven, right? You guys know Javed sir is very serious about literature. Regardless, right now we're going to talk about a valuable tool for you to get good marks in the exam. We're going to talk about a valuable tool that you can use to get good marks. Absolutely, Ruhuma. We are going to do the Vendor of Sweets. Please drop us a... We're doing the Vendor of Sweets, actually. We're learning the Vendor of Sweets. If you like, you guys can drop me a WhatsApp message. It's not 77963944. Drop me a WhatsApp message. Get in contact. So now we're going to talk about a valuable tool, which is this intro section. Why do you need an intro section? For two reasons. There are two reasons why you need an intro section. Reason number one, to learn theory. Everybody needs theory. Without theory, you can't get marks in the exam. Without theory, there is no subject. But there is another benefit. There is another bonus of getting learning this intro section. That is like a cheating method. What is that? That is a cheating method. And you can memorize this intro section. You can actually memorize this intro section. All right? Memorize this intro section. And you can use this in the exam if they give you an analysis question from Richard Cory. Many grade 11 students have gotten questions from Richard Cory, analysis questions, and many grade 11 students will get analysis questions from Richard Cory. So coming back to the point, we are going to be talking about how we can use this in the exam. All right, we are going to talk about how you can use these in the exam, use all of these tools in the exam. So coming back to the point, regardless, Richard Cory, so we start with the title, okay? We start with the title, by the way. Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. All right, we start with the title of this. All right, we start with the title of this poem. All right, we start with the title of this poem, by the way. All right, this is the title of the poem when writing analyses. Okay, if they give you an analysis, right? If they give you an analysis in the exam, you can write this intro section. So I advise many of you to memorize this intro section. You can memorize this intro section and use it in the exam. So Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. That is the name of the poet. Do you need to learn the background of this poem? The poet? Absolutely not right. Do you need to learn the background of this poet? Should you know what was Edwin Arlington Robinson's wife's name? What was his neighbor's name? What was Edwin Arlington Robinson's dog's name? What was Edwin Arlington Robinson's Horagani's name? Should you know the background of the poet? Absolutely not. In the O-level syllabus, you don't have to learn a single thing about the poet, but you must know how to spell his name properly. If you misspell the poet's name, they will reduce 1 mark. If you misspell the poet's name, if you don't spell the name of the poet properly, they are going to reduce 1 mark. I don't want that to happen to my students. I want my students to get full marks in the exam. Another example, now a lot of students, they don't know how to spell Houseman's name. You guys know A.E. Houseman, right? A.E. Houseman, right? Many students spell the name with an E. That's a mistake. You must cut the E. You must spell the name of the poet. Now, A.E. Houseman is the poet of Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree, right? A.E. Houseman is the poet of the poem Farewell to Barn and Stack and Tree. If you spell his name incorrectly, if you spell his name Houseman, you're not going to get marks. You will lose marks. You will lose 1 mark. Spell the name of the poet properly, exactly. We, even though his name is Houseman, we cut the E in his name and we made him Muslim. Now he is A. Husman. So like you spelled Houseman's name properly. Another example. Who wrote The Earthen Goblet? There is a poem called The Earthen Goblet. The Earthen Goblet, spelled in the appreciation book, these titles are spelled wrong, okay? There are some spelling mistakes in the appreciation book. So even the poem, The Earthen Goblet, is spelled wrong. Spell it properly. Who wrote The Earthen Goblet? Who is the poet? The poet's name is Harindranath Chatro Chatupad Yaya Chatropadhyaya. So you have to spell the names of the poets properly. If you don't spell them properly, you are going to lose marks in the exam. You are going to realistically lose marks in the exam. So I don't want that to happen to my students. All right. So coming back to the point, obviously, we are going to take a look at Richard Cory, and the intro section is what we are going to dive into. So you don't have to learn about the background of the poet. It's unnecessary, but learn to spell the name of the poet properly. That is a must. Learn to spell the name of the poet properly. If not, you're going to lose marks. So, Richard Cory, that is not the name of the poet. The poem is called Richard Cory. There is a man called Richard Cory. All right, Richard Cory is a fictional character. What do you mean by fictional character? What do you mean by fictional character? He is a fake character. There is no one called Richard Cory. But what is the name of the poet? The poet's name is Harindranath Chattopadhyaya. The name of the poet is Harindranath Chattopadhyaya. Absolutely, Ilma. Richard Cory is an imaginary character. So Richard Cory is a poetical social commentary. That's a very strong word that you can use. Poetical social commentary, right? That means here the poem talks about the issues of society, right? The poem, right? It's Edwin Arlington Robinson, right? It's Edwin Arlington Robinson. I can show you, by the way, Wazim. The poet is Edwin Arlington Robinson. All right? Edwin Arlington Robinson, right? So that's a good question, Wazim. So learn to spell the name of the poet properly, not Edward, Edwin. How to write it in the final O-level exam, the correct way or the way, the correct way, Wasim, okay? If there are spelling mistakes in the appreciation book, okay? If there are spelling mistakes in the appreciation book, the teacher has to correct them. So there are some spelling mistakes in the appreciation book, the names of some poets and the name of some lessons have been spelled wrong. The teacher has to correct that. So we're talking about a social commentary. Now, what do you mean by a social commentary? The narrator, or in this case, the poet. What is the name of the poet? Edwin Arlington Robinson. The poet is talking about the issues of society. Now, in society, are everybody equal? Is everybody equal in society? Or are people treated differently according to their wealth? What do you guys think? In society, are all citizens treated equal? Or are people treated according to their wealth? Definitely, people are treated differently according to their wealth. That is the issue, Ilma, the poet is trying to shed light onto. The poet is trying to highlight that citizens, the people in society, are not treated equally. Exactly, Rehana, they are treated according to their wealth. By Edwin Arlington Robinson is a poetical social commentary. You must memorize this, okay? Poetical social commentary that encapsulates the dichotomy between the upper and lower class. What does that mean? It means that there is a huge gap between the upper and lower class. The upper class is very rich. The lower class is very poor. Is that fair or unfair? If you think, according to your logically, okay, you can argue, you can say that, people work hard, right? You've worked hard, your parents have worked hard, you've made right decisions, you have invested money, you have worked abroad, and you became wealthy, yes. But for the most part, there are many poor people who can't afford education. who can't afford food, who have not been given the opportunity to become, improve their situation. Now, yes, sometimes you might say the rich people, they have educated themselves. They have used their wealth responsibly. They have invested. They have worked abroad. They have worked very hard and they have accumulated wealth. Yes, yes. But for the most part, if you look at the majority, right, Nuksha? If you look at the majority, right, Ilma, it is unfair, right? It is unfair that there is a class discrepancy. We call this the dichotomy. We call this dichotomy between the upper and lower class. Social commentary means talking about the issues of society. What is the issue that Richard Cory, this poem, is trying to talk about? Lower class and the upper class have a huge gap between them. There is a huge wealth gap. And that is unfair because there are people who can't afford to eat. There are people who can't afford an education. There are people who can't afford to survive. They don't have money to stay alive. Now, those discrepancies, the word is called discrepancies. I can even discrepancies. Discrepancies, they are called. You can even write this word down. Discrepancies of society. It's very unfair. Now you might ask me another question. Yes, Ilma, memorize the poems, okay? If you can, for fun. Memorize as much as you can. They will help you in the exam. It's not necessary, but if you memorize, it will become easy. It's not necessary. You can only memorize the important parts. But if you memorize, it will make your life very easy. The subject will become really easy. Now, you might ask me, Ade Javed sir, why are there difficult words in literature? Why do you give us difficult words in literature? Why can't you give us easy words? I'll tell you why. Now, look at Sinhala as a first language, right? Sinhala Sahitya. Look at Sinhala Sahitya. Look how complicated the words are. Right? Look at Sinhala Sahitya O level. Sinhala Sahitya. Look how complicated the words are, Ane. Right? Look how complicated the words are. Right? And I'll give you an example. I can read Sinhala. Tamil is Allah da Kaval, okay? My Tamil is Allah da Kaval. I can't even read a Tamil properly. But do you see how in Sinhala Sahitya, the words are very difficult, very heavy words, right? Egira panditayange me badu. Like you see how heavy the words are. It's not like grade 6 students write these, right? It's not like grade 6 podi kavi, right? It's not like that. It's very heavy, right? Sinhala Sahitya. What is it? The Tamil Ilakyam, right? It's very heavy, right? You have a lot of heavy words. In English literature also, if you want full marks, if you want to get full marks, if you want an A in the exam, you must learn these heavy words. But this is not impossible. This is actual literature. This is what you call actual literature. Many of my students, I'm talking hundreds of my students have gotten A's by following my methods. Just remember, you have to focus on the words. You can't write like a grade 6 child, okay? Like some students, they like, Richard Cory is a poem by Edwin Arlington Robinson. It is about society. It is about a rich man. You can't write like that and expect an A, okay? You can get a C, but if you want an A, you have to understand these complex ideas. So once again, what do you mean by social commentary? Social commentary means you are talking about the issues of society. Should we quote the poems? Yes, you need to. Sarah, you have to use quotations. Yes, you have to use quotations in the exam when writing analyses, when writing essay type answers. You have to quote the poems. So we talked about the dichotomy. Dichotomy means the difference, the gap between the upper and lower class. It's very unfair, right? It's very unfair. Here's again now, Nuksha says Tamil is her first language. Now, Nuksha, when writing Katturegal, you don't write, இது சரியான பசந்தா ஆயிக்குது, எனக்கு ஆசையா ஆயிக்குது, இது நல்ல கவிதை உண்டு, வாசிக்க ஆசையா ஆயிக்குது. You don't write shit like that, right? You write very heavy words when you write Katturegal. If you write like a grade 6 child, you get like 2-3 marks. Your teacher gives you 2-3 marks. You can't get full marks. So literature is not about simplifying, it's about understanding. Literature is about understanding, developing your language. Again, that is the subject. So you have to learn these words, but if you can't learn these words, you can memorize them, right? Say to me. You can memorize them, by the way. If society didn't measure our worth by wealth, perhaps we wouldn't feel compelled. Absolutely, say to me. Not only that, you can use that idea in the exam as well. Now, Setumi says, society measures human worth through wealth. Now, Setumi is my student, obviously. You can use that idea in the exam. So, Setumi, in this meeting, she says, society measures human worth through wealth. That is absolutely true, right? Society measures human worth through the metrics or through wealth. All right? And that is, it's unfair, right? And that's an idea that you can use in the exam as well. It's brilliant. So my students can come up with complex ideas like this. So my students, after many months of training, you guys can come up with complex ideas like this. You don't have to be a paying student. If you follow my YouTube channel, if you join our free seminars, or if you join our paid classes, you will be able to develop this discipline, this language discipline. So as the title suggests, that means we are using the title as proof. So as the title suggests, this part means we are using the title as proof. The narrative is guised as a eulogy. What is a eulogy? You are praising someone who is setta pochi. Right, Setumi? You are praising someone who is setta pochi, someone who is dead, right? What do you mean by a eulogy? Praising someone who is dead. So clearly, Richard Cory looks like a eulogy. This poem looks like a eulogy. What do you mean by a eulogy? Eulogy means you are praising someone who is dead. A eulogy that closely follows the legacy of a socialite named Richard Cory. Why is this called Richard Cory? The poem is called Richard Cory because there is a man, a socialite. Hey, what do you mean by socialite? A socialite is a celebrity, right? What do you mean by a socialite? A sunlight. I'll give you sunlight. Socialite is a celebrity, a famous person. a socialite named Richard Cory. Now, there's a poem called The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Hey, remind me the theme of that poem. The Eagle by Alfred Lord Tennyson. That is under the theme of nature. The eagle was about a predatorial bird, right, Sethmi? Absolutely, Nuksha, you are right. Zainab, the eagle was about a predatorial bird. The poem, The Eagle, was not about a monkey, right? The novel, The Vendor of Sweets, is about a man who sells sweets. The novel Bringing Tony Home is about the relationship between a boy and his dog. What is the name of the dog in Bringing Tony Home? Use your brains and tell me. What is the name of the dog in Bringing Tony Home? Obviously, it is. Obviously, it is Tony, right? Obviously, it is Tony. He is the dog in Bringing Tony Home. The title, Ilma, is very valuable. It's a very valuable theme, right, Nuksha? Absolutely. Tony Rizlan is the name of the dog, right, Wazim? So, if you take a look at the title, you can use that as proof. You can even do this in Sinhala Sahitya. Tamil Ilakya, Muthamma is about her old grandma, right? A grandma who is in the twilight of her life, right? Guttila Kavya is about the rivalry between a teacher called Guttila and his ungrateful student. So you can even use this concept in Tamil and Sinhala literature as well. You can use the title as proof. So here, now Richard Cory, he's a socialite. What do you mean by socialite? What do you mean by socialite? Socialite is a celebrity. Someone who is famous, someone who has a lot of money, someone who people value, someone who people respect, someone who people admire. Now, I want you guys to think about a person you admire a lot. Now, I admire, you guys know Elon Musk, right? I'm not a fan. I'm not going to die for Elon Musk. But I admire Elon Musk. Right. I admire the companies that he has built. I admire the strategies that he has followed when developing his brand. You also might have people you admire. Some boys, they like Ronaldo, right? You like Ronaldo, right? Some boys, right? Girls, they like Kohli, right? Kohli, Virat Kohli. All of Virat Kohli, all of these people that we admire, they are wealthy, they are successful, right? Now, wealth and success are a huge part of admiration. Don't you guys agree? Wealth and success. We have wealth, all right? We have wealth and then we have success, right? Wealth and success are a huge parts of admiration, right? When you admire someone, they are wealthy and they are successful, right? If they are not wealthy, if they are not successful, they won't be subjected to admiration. Yes, people will still like them, but many thousands and millions of people won't admire them. Wealth and success are huge factors. Wealth and success are huge metrics when it comes to receiving admiration. Wealth and success are huge metrics when it comes to receiving admiration. Richard Cory was wealthy. Richard Cory was successful. So I absolutely agree with this. I agree with this view. All right. And you guys also might have admired many people in your life. All of those people must have been wealthy and successful. But Richard Cory is a little ironic. This poem is a little ironic. We'll talk about irony in a bit, okay? We'll talk about irony. If you can, write the word irony. Write the word irony in the corner of your book. Wazi, metrics, okay? Not matrix, metrics. Metrics means measurables. So wealth and success are measurables, metrics, measurables. Matrix, now in maths there is something called matrix, right? Matrix means you are using numbers in tables. You're using tables to carry numbers around. Matrix, now here's a unrelated question. So what in maths you have something called matrix, right? Matrix means you are using these tables. You are using these tables to carry around numbers. So matrix is different, okay? I'm talking about metrics. These are metrics. Metrics means measurables, things that you can measure. Wealth and success are metrics. You only admire people who are wealthy and you only admire people who are successful. Will you go to a beggar? Will you go to a beggar and admire the beggar? Would you go to a beggar and admire him? Oh, this beggar, right? Oh, you wonderful beggar, right? I love you, beggar. You won't go to a beggar. I'm not making fun of beggars, by the way. But you don't go to a beggar and admire the beggar, right? You admire someone who is wealthy, successful, who has a good character, right? Who has a good character. Character is also an important part, right? When it comes to admiration, wealth and success and character are also important, right? Wealth and success and character are also important. If not, we will start admiring Kudukare or Kudumudalalila. So these three metrics are very important if you want admiration, that is wealth, success, and character. We'll put this in our presentation as well. Good question, Wazima, okay? We'll put this in our presentation as well. There are three metrics. There are three metrics of admiration. Three metrics of admiration, right? We'll call this metrics of admiration. Metrics of admiration. All right. And what are the three metrics? We actually came up with this now, right? We actually came up with these metrics of admiration only now. What are the metrics of admiration? Remind your Javed, sir. We have wealth, right? We have wealth. Wealth means dutti, right? Money. Wealth. We have wealth. What are the other metrics? Remind your Javed, sir. Wealth. Then we have success. Success. Right? Then we have character. All right. We have wealth. We have success. This is very practical, by the way, right? If someone doesn't have these, if a person misses these three things, they won't be admired, right? Now, Ronaldo. Does Ronaldo have all three of these? Does Ronaldo have all three of these metrics? What do you think? What do you think, Wazim? Does Ronaldo, Zainab, Does he have all three of these metrics? I'm not a huge fan, but I don't hate Ronaldo. Yes, right. Ronaldo has all three of these metrics. That's why he is admired. He is wealthy, he is successful, and he is also has a good character, right? He doesn't support Coca-Cola, right? Because Coca-Cola has funded the genocide in Palestine, right? Ronaldo doesn't drink Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola has funded the genocide in Palestine. Ronaldo is against Coca-Cola. So he has a good character, right? So he has these three qualities that makes him a person of admiration. Now, if you are not wealthy, right? Now, for example, let's say a person is successful, he has character. Tell me a person who is successful and has good character, but is not wealthy. If you guys can, Nuksha, tell me a person who is successful and has character, but is not wealthy. Tell me a person if you can. I mean, a famous person. He's in our syllabus also. He is successful. He has good character, but he is not wealthy. He lived a simple life. Who is that? We have this character in our syllabus as well. Mahatma Gandhi. We have Gandhi, right? Mahatma Gandhi is a good example. Mahatma Gandhi is a good example, right? He is not wealthy, but he is successful and he has good character. But there are no fans of Mahatma Gandhi, right? Like, does a boy tell you, I want to be like Mahatma Gandhi? Zainab, do your class students tell you, Mahatma Gandhi, Sattapadi? Mahatma Gandhi is awesome. I want to be like, no, right? The reason why many people don't admire Mahatma Gandhi is because Mahatma Gandhi is not wealthy. Therefore, no one admires Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi is not wealthy. Therefore, Mahatma Gandhi cannot fall under this category, right? Mahatma Gandhi won't be admired by everyone because Mahatma Gandhi was not wealthy. So he is not wealthy. How about Trump? What doesn't Trump have? All right, now if you take Trump, okay, the president of America, what doesn't Trump have? He has wealth, right? He has success. But then what doesn't he have? He doesn't have character, right? He has wealth, he has success, but he doesn't have character. Trump doesn't have character, so everybody doesn't admire him. What do you mean by character? You are good, right? A good character. Trump doesn't have a good character. All right? Trump doesn't have a good character. Therefore, Trump is a good example for someone who is not admired, right? Absolutely, Zainab. Trump doesn't have character. Therefore, Ilma, he is not admired, right, Nuksha? You can't admire someone if he doesn't have these three metrics. You can't admire someone if he doesn't have these three metrics, right? Exactly, Amina. He only has money, right? Success and wealth. He doesn't have character. So you can't admire Trump. How about someone like, now again, I'll mention these, right? So no wealth, right? Gandhi has no wealth. I'll mention these as well, right? No wealth. Right? No character, no wealth. Gandhi doesn't have wealth, so he can't fall inside this triangle. Trump has no character, therefore he can't fall inside this triangle. And if you think of success, right? If you think of success, think of someone who is like very old, right? someone who is like an old rich man, right? Old rich uncle. He has wealth, he might have character, but he has no success, right? Now, for example, if you take someone like, if you take someone who is old, an old actor, right? He doesn't have any more success, right? Tell me an example if you guys know an old actor who is not successful. He has wealth, he has character, but he might not have success. Therefore, you don't admire him. And why the hell not Wazim? How about Einstein, right? Einstein. All right. But Einstein is successful, though. Unfortunately, Einstein is successful. But I mean, I can say Newton. Yeah, Newton, right? Newton is a good example. Newton. He's a good example. You guys get the point, right? Best example. When there are, for example, there are old actors, okay? No, think about this, an old rich man, all right? Any old rich man, okay? Think of an old rich man. He has wealth, he has character, but he doesn't have any more success, right? If you are 90 years old, all right? If you are 90 years old, there is no more success, right? If you are 90 years old, you can't be successful. Like a sick man, right? A sick man, by the way, I'll give you a good example. Stephen Hawking, all right? So he's wealthy, he must have good character, but he's not successful, right? No one wants to be like him because he's paralyzed. I hope you guys can understand, okay? I hope you guys can understand. So in order to be admired, you must have all three of these qualities. You must have all three of these qualities. Rizlan, I like your idea. Rizlan says Ratan Tata. Yes. Wait, I have a better idea. Ambani's son. What is Ambani's son's name? There's Ambani's son, man. That's a brilliant idea. Ambani's son. Anand Ambani, exactly. Anand Ambani, he is wealthy. He has a good character. Okay. All right. Who's this? This is his wife, right? Oh, she definitely did not marry him for the money. She definitely did not marry him for his money. That is absolutely true. All right. So can you understand that? So Gandhi, right? Gandhi has good character, right? Gandhi has good character. Successful, but not wealthy, right? Good character, successful. He has made a huge impact, right? But no wealth. Therefore, he is not admired unanimously. Everybody does not admire Mahatma Gandhi, right? Jagan might admire him, but everyone doesn't admire Mahatma Gandhi. Trump has no character, right? No character, bad character. Character means qualities, okay? Bad character. He has wealth. He is successful. But that is the reason why he is not admired by everyone. Anand Ambani, he has good character. He is wealthy, but he is not successful, right? What has he done? Anything successful that Anand Ambani has done? Unfortunately, no. He has good character, right? He has good character, but he is not successful. Therefore, he doesn't have admirers. He is not unanimously admired, right, Nuksha? Ayatollah. I don't. Ayatollah. All right. You mean the leader of Iran? Okay, interesting. So coming back to the point, okay, exactly right. Anand Ambani is a very good example. I can give you more examples, okay, but let's keep these 4 examples tight. So now here's the question: did Richard Cory have all 3 of these? Did Richard Cory have all 3 of these qualities? Yes, right. He was wealthy. He had good character. And then Setumi, he was also successful, right? He was also successful. So therefore, Richard Cory was subjected to all of the admiration of his community. That's a very brilliant idea. This makes the poem very practical, right? This you can take a screenshot as well. You guys can take a screenshot of this as well. This is a very practical way of learning literature. So because Richard Cory had all 3 of these qualities, he was subjected to admiration. So I can definitely admire Anand Ambani's wife. Unfortunately, Anand Ambani, we don't admire him because he is not successful. But I have heard Anand Ambani is a very good person. He has great character. Unfortunately, he is living off of his father's success, right? The reason why no one admires Anand Ambani is because he is living off his father's success. Let's move forward then. So here we have the legacy of a socialite named Richard Cory, who, despite being admired by his community, found his own life unworthy of living. This is ironic. This is ironic. So many people admired Richard Cory's life. So many people wanted to be like Richard Cory. But did Richard Cory admire himself? Did Richard Cory admire himself? Absolutely not, right? Richard Cory did not admire his life. How can you prove that? Richard Cory had committed suicide, right? Richard Cory did not admire his life. Richard Cory did not admire his life. He had committed suicide. He had put a bullet through his head. Richard Cory did not admire his life. He had put a bullet through his head. Richard Cory did not admire his life. He had committed suicide. That is ironic, okay? That is ironic, by the way. Richard Cory did not admire his own life, even though his community, right, Amina, his community admired him. Richard Cory did not admire his life. He put a bullet through his head. Don't worry, Amina, this is a fictional story, fictional character, but he's symbolic, okay? He's a fictional character, but he symbolizes a lot of real people. There have been so many real successful people who had committed suicide because even though they were admired by millions, they did not admire themselves. We'll talk about it. Commendably, Robinson has tackled the sensitive topic of suicide. Suicide is a very sensitive topic. Here, when we say sensitive, we say serious, okay? Here, sensitive is serious. Serious. Sensitive topic of suicide through his creative lens to interpret a modernized version of the 2 adages. There are adages. There are adages. What are adages? Adages are stories that you can learn lessons from, like proverbs. Adages are like proverbs, okay? Like Havagi Bagi Katava. All right. By the way, remember, suicide is a sensitive topic. Robinson has tackled the sensitive topic of suicide through his creative lens to interpret a modernized version of the two adages. Appearances can be deceptive. That means what you see, you can't believe, right? Absolutely. Appearances can be deceptive, right, Nuksha? You can't admire people only by their appearance. Appearances can trick you, right? So the people in the city, the people in the town, they admired Cory. They thought that he was successful. They did not know the personal struggles that he was going through. They did not know the real struggles that Cory was experiencing. Appearances can be deceptive and money cannot buy happiness. That's also true, right? Now, for example, look at a person like Anand Ambani. He has all of the money in the world, but is he really happy? He's got health problems. He's got all kinds of issues. So even though he has money, can he actually buy happiness? Absolutely not, right? So this is a very realistic poem. It's a very realistic narrative. Finally, remember, the ironic tragedy, tragedy is a sad ending, okay? Tragedy is another word for sad ending. Why is this poem tragic? Can my brilliant students tell me why is this poem considered to be tragic? Because it ends in suicide, right? The poem ends in suicide. The tragedy of Cory urges the reader to evaluate the self and identify the true meaning of happiness. Brilliant intro section. Even ChatGPT can't write an intro section like this. This is 100% syllabus friendly, 100% exam ready. You guys can take a screenshot. This is bloody valuable if you can read this 10 times. Read the intro section 10 times. And if you want, you can even memorize this intro section. So I'll give you guys a few seconds. Take a screenshot of this intro section, please. I'll give you guys a few seconds. Take a screenshot of this intro section, please. Okay, let's get back to learning, baby. We've got the whole poem to cover. We talked about if there are any doubts, if you guys have any doubts regarding the intro section, please drop me a message through the chat. Azkar, I'll help you guys. By the way, Azkar Jagan is a fictional character. So these characters that we talked about are real characters. Gandhi is a real character. Ronaldo is a real character. Anand Ambani is a real character. Trump is also a real character. These are real people, okay? So we have the metrics of admiration. If a person has all three of these, that person is admired. So we need this understanding to dive into Richard Cory. Now, you might ask me, so why did you talk about this? The reason is if you understand how these three metrics work, you will be able to understand the poem much effectively. Also, this is a small note from the teacher's guide. The adage appearances can be deceptive. When learning Richard Cory, you have to identify how appearances can be deceptive. But also remember, there are social issues, okay? Socio-economic issues. There are also socio-economic issues. That means regarding money, right? Issues regarding money. There are also socio-economic issues. That means issues regarding money, money problem, money issues. Socio-economic issues are also there. Appearances can be deceptive is correct, but we have to also talk about socio-economic issues. That means money problems. So Richard Cory did not have money problems. So we'll see who had these money problems, okay? By the way, we talked about irony, right? Irony. So there is a irony type called situational irony. You have to understand irony to learn not only Richard Cory, but to learn our syllabus. You have to understand irony. So what do you mean by situational irony? You can write this down if you like. Use a red color pen and you guys can write this down if you like. The opposite of the expected. The opposite of the expected is true. That is what you mean by situational irony. The opposite of the expected is true. For example, a cow eating beef. You don't expect a cow to eat beef, right? Cows are beef. A cow eating beef is ironic, right? Absolutely, Zainab. A fire truck, a fire station on fire. A fire station on fire. That is very ironic, right? Now, when the fire station, when your house catches on fire, you might call the fire station. But if the fire station is on fire, who do you call, right? Here's another good example. A pregnant man. Pregnant man. Right? It's ironic. A man becoming pregnant, a man getting pregnant. That is a good example for irony. A pregnant man. Cow eating beef. That is a brilliant example for situational irony. There are different kinds of irony. Yeah, police robbing the house. Genius you are, Nuksha. Police robbing your house. That is a brilliant example for irony. Chicken eating KFC. Well done. You're right. A chicken eating KFC. You're right, Wazim. A pregnant man is also a good example for situational irony because men can't be pregnant. Impossible, right? A pregnant man is also a good example for situational irony because men cannot be pregnant. That is impossible. It is ironic as well because you don't expect a man to be pregnant, right? What you expect, the opposite is true. What you expect, the opposite is true. That is what you call irony. That is what situational irony is. So a pregnant man is a good example for situational irony. What you expect, the opposite is true. Now, it is also oxymoronic. You're right, Raik. It is also oxymoronic, yes. So oxymorons and situational irony are connected, okay? Oxymorons and situational irony are a little connected, poddak connected. Now, why is Cory's life ironic? Now, here's a question. You guys can even write this down. Why is Cory's life ironic? What do you guys think? Why is Cory's life or Cory's death ironic? What do you guys think? I'll give you the answer, don't worry. This is a webinar to help you, not to hurt you. So why is Cory's death ironic? You guys might ask, why is Cory's death ironic? You guys might ask. The reason is, you're almost there. You're almost there, by the way, Raik. What about bald barber? Yeah, bald barber is ironic. Yes, I agree. Yes, Nuksha, you're almost correct. Though he was admired by many. Because even though he was admired by many, he did not admire himself, right? He did not admire himself. All right, he did not deem his life worthy of living, though he was admired by many, and many wanted to live his life. And many wanted to live his life. He did not think that his life was worth living. That is why it's ironic. Many people wanted what he had, but he did not want what he had. Many people wanted what he had, but he did not want what he had. That's why it's ironic. That's why Richard Cory is ironic. That's why his death is ironic. That's why Richard Cory's death is ironic, because even though many people wanted his life, he did not want to live his life. Because even though many people wanted to live his life, he did not want to live his life. And that is why Richard Cory is ironic. That is why the poem is, his death is ironic. Because he was admired by many, but he did not admire himself. He was admired by many, but he did not admire himself. That is why Cory's death is ironic. Even though he was admired by many, and many wanted to live his life, many wanted to live a life like his. Live a life like his. He did not think that his life was worth living, therefore his life is ironic. Admired by everyone but himself, absolutely, Amina. That is why his death is ironic. That is why Richard Cory's death is ironic. Absolutely. Makarima, you are right. In the vendor of sweets, there's a bearded man. His name is Sinnadore. We have him in our tutorial as well. We have the vendor of sweets printed tutorial as well. In our printed tutorial, we have, there we go, the bearded man. He's a hair dyer. The bearded man in the vendor of sweets is a hair dyer, but his hair is white. His hair is white. That is ironic, yes. His hair is white. That is ironic. Why not, Nuksha? Jagan sells sweets, but he does not eat sugar. That is another example for situational irony. So let's talk about stanza number 1. By the way, I think, okay, this is the only literature class with printed tutorials. This is the, I think, I'm not sure. I have not seen other literature classes with printed, valuable printed tutorials like these. The only literature class in Sri Lanka with printed tutorials. Only class in Sri Lanka with colored printed tutorials. Only class in Sri Lanka with colored printed tutorials. So if you guys want to join, drop us a message. We have our own website, by the way. We have our own website called isaac.com. It's very simple. We have our own website called Isaac, AYZACK.com. We have our own website called Isaac.com. You guys can join our website. You guys can learn literature. You can support our cause. We also give free printed tutorials to students who can't afford it. We give free printed tutorials to students who do not have the money to join classes. So sometimes the people who look the most complete are the ones fighting battles. Absolutely, absolutely, Setmi. That's also a brilliant idea. You can write that as well in the analysis. So this is how Isaac.com is, right? You can learn literature through our portal. This is basically the website. So you can join our classes, right? You can join our live classes. We have master classes, theory classes, novel classes. We teach all 3 novels in Isaac. We have A-level literature. I think I am the only O-level literature teacher who teaches A-level literature as well. Yeah, Rehana, EduZone didn't work out. I'm still there, but join through Isaac, okay, Rehana? Join through Isaac, okay? So coming back to the point, we have a store in Isaac. At the moment, the workbook and the vendor of sweets printed tutorials are available to purchase. On top of that, we have free printed tutorials. If you join Isaac and you miss a class, the recordings will be available in the website itself. If you join Isaac and you miss a class, the recordings will be available under this My Calendar feature. You can see the lesson, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Watch recording. Recordings won't expire. Isaac.com, I think, is the most complete education website in Sri Lanka. You guys can go through this when you are free. If you want more information, you want help with literature, you want more PDFs, drop us a message, 963-9434. If you have financial problems and you want printed tutorials, don't hesitate to ask. We are here to help you, right? Javed, sir, other students, Isaac.com is here to help you. Don't join through EduZone, Nuksha. Join through Isaac.com. EduZone doesn't pay me, Nuksha. I promise. There's a website called EduZone. They're not paying me, man. So I'm losing money, Nuksha. Already I'm losing money by sending free printed tutorials. So join through Isaac, okay? If you want to support Javed, sir, if you guys want to learn literature, and if you want to help other students in need, because you know that I send free printed tutorials to students in need. I do it every week. I send free printed tutorials to students who can't afford, even if you are a student who can't afford to join classes, drop me a message. I will help you in any way I can. So coming back to the point, absolutely. And yes, we do write essay type questions, Salma. We do essay type questions in our weekly classes. We can't do essay type questions in our free seminar series. I feel like no one even mattered to ask. You mean Richard Cory, right? Of course, of course. But also remember, Setmi, we have to look at society, okay? When talking about Richard Cory, we have to look at how society deals with these issues. We can't look at personal issues, okay? Because the theme is society. So don't look at personal issues, look at social issues. So we do write analyses in our weekly classes. If you don't know what this is a free seminar series every Friday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We do one free lesson, poetry lesson. We're going to do all 20 poems, but this is the second poem in our series. If you want to join the other seminars for free, drop us a WhatsApp message, 963-9434. The other seminars will happen every Friday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. But on top of that, we have our paid classes, and in our paid classes, we learn to write analyses, we'll answer context questions, we'll learn our novels. So absolutely, next week, yes, Rizlan will do the terrorist he's watching. Why not? Next week, we can do the terrorist he's watching in our free seminar series. Get ready. But right now, we're talking about stanza number 1 in Richard Cory by Edwin Arlington Robinson. Oh, yeah, Miss Sadinsa isn't available today, sadly. Next week, she'll be here, okay, Sethmi? Next week, I will tell her that Sethmi asked her to join. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, this is stanza number 1. There are 4 stanzas, by the way. One stanza has 4 lines, not very important. By the way, Salma, this will also help you write essay type answers. This intro section will help you answer essay type questions. This intro section you can write in an analysis. You can write in an essay type question. So coming back to the point, whenever Richard Cory went downtown, past tense, right? Past. So that means Richard Cory is now set the pochi. Went, past tense. Past is past. Past tense. Whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people on the pavement, the narrator, does the narrator belong to Richard Cory's group? Or does the narrator belong to the people on the pavement? The narrator belongs to the people on the pavement. What does the pavement symbolize? Wealth or the lower class? What does the pavement symbolize? The pavement on the road symbolizes the lower class, right, Rehana? The pavement symbolizes the lower class. That means the working class, the class that doesn't have wealth, no money, food. Does the lower class have abundance of food? No, right? We learnt about this in I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings as well. But the working class doesn't have food. So the narrator represents the people on the pavement, right, Rehana? Exactly, symbolism, you are right. You are right, Nuksha. There is symbolism, yes. The pavement symbolizes. The pavement is a symbol for the lower class, right? The pavement is a symbol for the lower class. Poverty, absolutely, well done. You're right, Khadija. Poverty, right? Poverty. So the narrator represents poor people. We people on the pavement looked at him. Did they look at him with jealousy or with admiration? What do you guys think? Look at the tone. What is the tone? Is it a jealous tone? I'm Richard Cory, this bastard. Or did they look at him with admiration? Well done. A tone of admiration. You are right, Khadija. Tone of admiration. They admired Cory. Now, like I said, Ilma, they admire Cory depending on three metrics. What are the three metrics that they admire him for? His character, wealth, and success. All three of these must be there. His character, his wealth, and his success. They admire him for all three of these. He was a gentleman from soul to crown. I want to highlight the word gentleman. I want to highlight the word gentleman. Can you be a gentleman if you are poor? No. Can you be a gentleman if you're kudukaran, tulkaran, ganjakaran, kudikaran, right? Pumbula poriki. Can you be a gentleman if you are not respectful? You are respectful, right? Wealth, respect. Wealth and respect. A gentleman embodies wealth. You can't be a gentleman without wealth, right? You can't ride a foot cycle, right? You can't wear torn clothes and call yourself a gentleman. People are going to think that you are Pythium. Wealth and respect. You can write this down if you like. Embody means show, Rehana. Embody means show. So the word gentleman embodies, shows wealth and respect. Both of these qualities are embodied by Cory. Cory's character is wealthy and respectful. You can't be a gentleman even if you are wealthy. If you have mudukuwai, right? If you only speak in Kunuharapa, you can't be a gentleman, right? Soul to crown. Soul is the bottom of his feet. Crown is the top of his head. From the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. What do you mean by soul? Soul is the bottom of his feet. Crown is the top of his head. From the bottom of his feet to the top of his head, Cory was a gentleman. How can you become a gentleman? You must be wealthy and you must be respectful. You have to have both of those attributes. He was a gentleman from soul to crown, clean-favored. Clean-favored means he liked clean things. Clean-favored means he liked clean things. It does not only mean hygienic. Now, when we think of clean, we think of hygiene, right? When we think of the word clean, we think of hygiene, right? Hygiene, cleanliness. We think of hygiene. All right? When we think of clean, we think of hygiene. All right? We think of hygiene. Give me a second. I want to add the image as well. Images will make our document more valuable. When we think of clean, right? We think of hygiene. And we also, there's more by the way. We think of hygiene and we also think of morally uncontaminated. We think of good. We think of morally sound. When we think of clean, we think of hygiene, right? And then we also think of morally sound. I'll give you the words, don't worry. I'll give you guys the words, okay? We think of hygienic, and then we think of morally sound. He was a clean person, right? He was a clean person. He was not only hygienic, he was also morally sound. Give me a second. Let me add this image as well. So what do you mean by clean? Not only hygienic, but he was exactly away from sins. Well done, Khadija. You are right. He was away from sins. Right? He was away from sins. Brilliant. Brilliant. Not only was he hygienic, but he was also morally sound. Give me a second. Let me add this image very quickly. Let me crop this and put this in the presentation. The images make learning super, super easy. They make the lesson very memorable. They make the lesson really memorable. That is why I am, oh my God, I can't crop this. Let me try another image, okay? We'll only take 5 minutes. So first of all, he was hygienic, right? And then he was also morally sound. Let me quickly add this image. That is what clean favored means. Let me quickly put these images, okay? You guys have to give me a few minutes because these will make the presentation very valuable, easy to follow. And I am adding these now because I only thought about them now. Yes, Nuksha. Recording will be available in our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel. And in the YouTube channel, you can find the recording. I promise we'll be done by 10 o'clock, okay? Absolutely, of course. Don't worry. Drop me a WhatsApp message, Nuksha. Hope you have saved my number. We will send you the recording of this session. Next week also, we will be having a free seminar, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Morally sound means good. Like Javed sir, right? Like Javed sir, basically. Morally sound. So no alcohol, no smoking, right? No smoking. Give me a few seconds. Let me add these images. So clean favored does not only mean hygienic, it also means morally sound. I love it. Let me put this image as well. Put this image as well in the presentation. Again, these images will make our learning super, super easy. Can't forget one more thing. I need to add one more thing. Those of you who know will know. Let me add one more thing very quickly. So there is no smoking, no alcohol, right? Morally sound. Let's add one more thing. If you know, you know. Give me a second. All right. Let's add one more thing. So let me add the hygienic part as well, okay? Let me add the hygienic part as well. So Richard Cory was morally sound, right? If you know, you know. If you know, you know. The PDFs, drop me a WhatsApp message. I'll send the PDF for free, okay? So as you guys can see, we are making a valuable PDF. So if you guys want this PDF, you guys can drop your Javed sir a WhatsApp message. I'll be happy to send you guys the PDF. So almost done with this part. Obviously, clean favored, right? Clean favored means he liked clean things. A hygienic person, right? Now, for example, is a beggar hygienic? Absolutely not, right? A beggar is not hygienic. So Richard Cory is the opposite. He's a gentleman. Cory is actually a gentleman, right? clean favored. And then there's another word called imperially slim. There is another word that means imperially slim, clean favored. Clean favored. Favored you can spell according to the American spelling as well. Favor without the U. You guys can spell the word favored absolutely fine. So clean favored means morally sound, or it can mean hygienic as well. There we go. Hygienic, right? Hygienic. It can mean hygienic as well. Let me put an image of washing hands very quickly, okay? Almost done with this part. I promise images is what makes literature so easy. Images are what makes literature very easy, because in your syllabus, literature doesn't have colorful workbooks, right? You don't have a colorful workbook or a textbook. And that is what makes this subject so difficult. You're right. Even the word clean was used in farewell to barn and stack and tree. You're right, Rizlan. Absolutely, I agree. The word clean, a love to keep you clean, right? The word a love to keep you clean, that was used in farewell to barn and stack and tree as well. Absolutely. So they show you the word clean, right? Now you guys know the meaning of the word clean. All right, we're going to put this as well. Hygienic and morally sound. Morally sound means he is a good person. He doesn't have any bad qualities. He does not sin. Someone mentioned he's away from sin. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, right? Someone mentioned that he was away from sin. Yes. Richard Cory was away from sin. That is a brilliant idea that you can take with you to the exam. And then there are other words in the first stanza that you have to measure. You have to properly measure these words. All right? There are words in the first stanza. So we talked about Cory being morally sound, and then he's also, right? He's morally sound. He's hygienic. That is what clean favored means. So whenever Richard Cory went downtown, we people on the pavement looked at him. He was a gentleman from soul to crown, clean favored, imperially slim. What do you mean by imperially slim? That's an interesting word. Can you guys see? There is a word called imperially slim. Imperially slim. So we now know what clean favored means. What does imperially slim mean here? You can write this down if you like. Imperially slim means he was built like a royal. Imperially slim means he was built like a royal. His body language was royal. Now, normal people walk in a certain way, but royals, right? His body language was royal, had a royal aura. You can write this down if you like. His body language had a royal aura. You know what aura is, right? Aura is like presence, like essence, light. His body language, Khadija, exactly like a king. Well done. Like a king. Well done. You're right. There's another word called imperially slim. What does that mean? Imperially slim means his body language. Imperially slim is about his body language, by the way. His body language had a royal aura. All right, I'll even give you guys a note here. What do you mean by impede? Can I take a screenshot, by the way? Clean favored. Clean favored means morally sound. That means hygienic. Clean favored means morally sound, right? Morally sound means away from sin. Morally sound means away from sin. Hygienic means clean. He had both. Both of these qualities were found in Cory. That is why so many people admired him, right? If he was a Kudugaran, Kudigaran, Pumbula Poriki, Pumbula Kallan, people would have not admired him. The reason why he was admired is because he was hygienic, he was clean, and he was morally sound. He had a majestic look. Why not? Why not, Sarah? He looked like a monarch, right? You can even say, Sarah, he looked like a monarch. What do you mean by imperially slim? What do you mean by imperially slim? Imperially slim. Clean favored and imperially slim. Imperially slim means he was built like a royal. His body language exuded a royal aura, right? He was built like a royal. His body language exuded a royal aura. He is compared to a monarch. A monarch is a king. A monarch is a king. His body language exuded. Exuded means like showed. Exuded. Showed. A royal aura. Aura is like soul light. His soul light was royal. His soul light, the light that came from his soul, was royal. That is what you mean by imperially slim. All right, it's actually a metaphor. It's actually a metaphor, by the way. All right. Imperially slim. What do you mean by imperially slim? He was built like a royal. His body language exuded a royal aura, or he is compared to a monarch. Imperially slim, right? His presence is compared to that of a monarch. To that of a monarch. Can't forget. Let's add the image of a crown, right? Crown. His body language is compared to that of a monarch. That is what you mean by imperially slim. There's another word. Now look at stanza number 1 very carefully. By the way, don't worry. We only have 4 stanzas. Look at stanza number 1 really carefully and tell me. There's another word that compares Cory to a king. In this stanza, there is another word that compares Cory to a king. What is that word? Absolutely, you are right. Makarima, it is crown. Crown compares Cory to a king. So the words imperially slim and crown, right, Rizlan? Imperially slim and crown. They compare Cory to a monarch. Imperially slim and crown. They compare Cory to a monarch, by the way. Let's keep pushing forward. So there's another technique called pun technique. Don't worry about those techniques, okay? Don't worry about all of the techniques. Some techniques you won't even use in the exam. So don't panic. Don't worry about all of the techniques. Let's focus on the important techniques only, right? So like I said, what do you mean by clean-favored? Clean-favored means he was hygienic and he had he was morally sound. He was away from sins. That is the meaning of the word clean-favored. Not only that, we also have imperially slim. What do you mean by imperially slim? His body language resembled that of a monarch, right? He looked like a royal. He was built like a royal. All of these ideas you can use in the exam. Imperially slim. Who was imperially slim? Richard Cory. There's another technique called juxtaposition. Now, I know we're talking about so many techniques, but don't worry. You can access this PDF and you guys can download it, go through it whenever you are free. The number is not 7796394434. Myself and my admin are always on WhatsApp, so you'll get a quick reply. If you want this PDF, you can drop us a WhatsApp message. We'll send this PDF to you. But there's a technique called juxtaposition. Now, the people on the pavement were juxtaposed with Cory, right? Cory's a gentleman. He's compared to a king. The people on the pavement, they were juxtaposed with Cory, right? So Cory is a gentleman. He is compared to a king, right? The people on the pavement, they are poor, obviously. The pavement, someone in the meeting mentioned this. The pavement symbolizes poverty, right? The pavement symbolizes poverty. Juxtaposition means you take two opposite ideas and you show how different they are. For example, Fair and Lovely advertisements. Have you guys seen old vintage Fair and Lovely advert billboards? Look, juxtaposition, right? Before she was dark, after using Fair and Lovely, she's a vellachi, vellakari. Juxtaposition, taking two opposite things and showing how different they are. Juxtaposition, taking two opposite ideas and showing how different they are. That is what you mean by juxtaposition. Richard Cory is juxtaposed with the people on the pavement, right? Richard Cory is juxtaposed with the people on the pavement. This is also a good example for juxtaposition before and what? Before and, tell your Javed, sir. Before and after, right? Before and after is a good example for juxtaposition. The people on the pavement are juxtaposed with Cory, right? The people on the pavement, they are juxtaposed with Cory, right? So obviously, right, Zainab? There is a example for juxtaposition in Richard Cory. There are many, many examples for juxtaposition in our syllabus. For example, in the lumber room, Nicholas's character was juxtaposed with the aunt's character, right? Nicholas's character was juxtaposed with the aunt's character. Let's move forward then. So here we have the second stanza, stanza number 2. There are only 4 stanzas, don't worry. We'll be done very soon. And he was always quietly arrayed. This is called anaphora, okay? And he, it's called anaphora. Anaphora. Anaphora means repetition in the beginning of a line. Anaphora. Anaphora means repetition of a beginning, in the beginning of the line. Anaphora. Is it important? Do you need this in the exam? No. It's in the teacher's guide. This is in the teacher's guide, but you don't need this in the exam. And he was always quietly arrayed, quietly dressed. What do you mean by quietly dressed? Arrayed means dressed. Did he dress for attention? Like some aunties when they go to weddings, right? Jilly, jilly, jiggly, jiggly, right? They've got shiny sequences on their dress. Their dress is silky. Some parts are huge. Some parts are tight. Like aunties going to weddings. Did Richard Cory dress up like that? No. Well done, Khadija. He dressed modestly. He dressed modestly, right? He dressed not for attention. He did not dress for attention. What do you mean by quietly arrayed? He did not dress for attention. He dressed modestly, right? He didn't dress like these aunties who go to weddings because they want everybody's attention. No, he dressed modestly. He was always human when he talked. What does that mean? When he spoke, he was kind. Human has another meaning. Spoke kindly. He spoke kindly. Now, there are some people, when they become successful, they become rude. Have you seen people like that? When they become successful, right? When some of your friends, they become prefects, right? They become rude. Ha, go in. I can't talk with you. I'm doing duty. Right? When some people, when they get a position of admiration, position of power higher, they become rude. But Cory spoke with humanity. Well done, Haya. Cory spoke with humanity. He spoke kindly. But still, look at this. Still, he fluttered pulses when he said good morning. That means when people spoke with him, they got excited, fluttered pulses, other people's pulses, okay? When he spoke to people, when he said good morning to these people, their heartbeat sped up. Their heartbeat sped up. Why? Was Cory an ordinary man or was Cory a celebrity? You're right, Zainab. He spoke politely. Why not? Politely. Well done. Remember, literature is a word game. If you know the word, you know the game. You win the game. If you know the words, you win the game. So he fluttered pulses. What does that mean? When he spoke with people, they became excited. Excitement. Excitement. He caused excitement among the crowd. He caused excitement among the people. Now, for example, imagine if, let's say Shri Leela. You guys know Shri Leela, right? If Shri Leela, or if Mukesh Ambani's wife, if she were to come and speak with me, will my pulse flutter? Hell yes. My pulse and my everything will flutter. The blood will pump everywhere. So the reason is because she's a celebrity, right? When a celebrity, now Cory was a celebrity, so when he spoke with ordinary people, when he spoke in a friendly way with ordinary people, what did he say? He said, Ade, what did he say? Good morning, right? He spoke politely, like you said, Zainab. He spoke politely. People became excited. Richard Cory said good morning to me. I'm an ordinary person, but this Richard Cory, this celebrity, right? This paragon, right? This man who has a perfect character, wealth, and success. He said good morning to me. That made ordinary people excited. He glittered when he walked. Was he dressed up like Michael Jackson? What do you mean by glittered when he walked? Was he dressed up like Michael Jackson? No. He was easily noticeable. Glittered when he walked means he was easily. Why was he easily noticeable? Why was he easily noticeable? Because he was a celebrity, because he was a socialite. He was easily noticeable because he was a celebrity, because he was a socialite. We can go to the next part, stanza 3. Now, this stanza is very valuable because it highlights the most important quality out of these 3. I told you that you need all 3 of these qualities to be admired: character, success, and wealth. But what is the most important quality? Wealth, right? What does society value the most? Now, yes, you need all 3 of these. You need all 3 of these if you want to be admired unanimously. But out of these 3, what is the most valuable metric? Wealth, right? Everybody, most people, 90% of people, they prioritize wealth. How do you prove it? 90% of people, they prioritize wealth. Look at this extract, Khadija. Absolutely. He was rich, yes, richer than a king. That's hyperbole. This is said with hyperbole. Said, can someone really be richer than a king? No. Impossible. But this highlights how valuable wealth is. Richer than a king is said with hyperbole. It highlights the value of wealth, right? It highlights the value of wealth. Richer than a king, admirably schooled in every grace. So even though he was richer than a king, what does this mean? He was taught what? Schooled in every grace. He was taught good manners. He was taught. Schooled means taught. He was taught good manners. Well done. Why not? Upper class behavior. I love it. Well done, Khadija. Khadija says upper class. Well done. That's a brilliant idea. Upper class behavior. Classy behavior, right? Let's use a better word, Khadija. Classy behavior. Not like a mudukku person. He had classy behavior. He was taught good manners. He had classy behavior. I like that idea, by the way, Khadija. Well done. Classy behavior, right? Then saying good manners. Classy behavior. Admirably schooled in every grace. That means he had classy, he upkept classy behavior. You can say he upkept classy behavior, admirably schooled in every grace. Etiquette, I love it. Well done. You're right, Makarima. You are right, Makarima. Etiquette, right? Etiquette, I love that. Etiquette. I haven't used this word. I have not used this word, etiquette, right? Etiquette. That's a brilliant word. You can I actually forgot about this word makarima. I haven't used this word in 10 years. Etiquette. Etiquette. Right? He upkept etiquette, right? He upkept his etiquette. He followed the rules of etiquette. Richard Cory's etiquette was admirable, right? Admirable etiquette. Not ticket, okay? What ticket? I'll give you a ticket. Etiquette. Admirable etiquette. You can memorize these words. They will help you in your analysis, especially in the grade 11 second term test. Most probably you will get Richard Cory and you can use all of these ideas. Classy behavior and admirable etiquette. In fine, we thought that he was everything to make us wish that we were in his place. What does this mean? Wish that we were in his place. Wish that we were in his place. Wish that we were in his place. We wanted to be in his place. What do you mean by place? Where he is standing, all right? What is the correct way of writing the poet's name? The way I taught you, Haya. Because there are some mistakes in the book, unfortunately. What do you mean by place? Place. Is it where Cory is standing or place in society? Envy is correct, but we don't use the word Khadija, envy. We don't use that word. Envy is a negative word. Admiration, well done. Admiration and his social place means social. What's the word? What do you think? Social status. Social status. Place also means social status. They're talking about Cory's social status. They wanted to reach Cory's social status. These are all mentioned in the notes, okay? Don't worry. All of these ideas are mentioned in the notes. But remember, they wanted to reach Cory's social status. That is what you mean by place. Place does not mean Cory's chair. I want to sit on Cory's chair. I want to sleep in Cory's bed. I want to stand where in the toilet. I want to sit on Cory's toilet. No. Place is his social status. Social level. Status is a very good word. Status. We wish that we were in his place. Don't use envy, Khadija. Envy is a negative word, right? So say admiration. They admired him. Vast admiration, right? And when place means they wanted to reach Cory's social status. They wanted to reach Cory's social status. This is the last stanza. Now look at this. Now the first two lines. The first two lines show the living conditions of the people on the pavement. Do they live luxurious lives or do they live miserable lives? They live miserable, right? They live miserable lives, right? How can you prove that? They live miserable lives, right? The reason is so on we worked. Who works? Laborers. Laborers waited for the light. Light is a symbol for a bright future. They are working. They are working. And they are waiting for a bright future. So on we worked and waited for the light. A light is a symbol for a bright future. What does work indicate? These are laborers, right? What does the work indicate? These are laborers. On we worked and waited for the light, and went without the meat, no meat. Curse the bread, no bread. Cursed. You curse the things that you can't afford, right? You curse the things that you can't afford. This shows that they lack sustenance. Sustenance. Sustenance means food. They lack sustenance. They lack sustenance. They didn't have meat, went without the meat, cursed the bread. They lack sustenance. They had no means of affording these their sustenance. They could not afford their sustenance. You can write this down, by the way. Could not afford sustenance. Sustenance is another word for food. Nutritious food, sustenance. So what does Richard Cory do? Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. What did he do? He committed suicide. He committed suicide. But now there's a very important question. There's a really important question that I want to ask you guys. The narrator doesn't lament over Richard Cory's death. He stops. When the narrator talks about the death, he stops. Can you see this part? And Richard Cory, one calm summer night, went home and put a bullet through his head. Why is the narrator not emotional? The narrator does not become emotional. Why? Tell me this. Are people admired when their success stops? What do you guys think? Are people admired when their success stops? No, right? Now, for example, you admire Ronaldo, Kohli. We admire so many actors, right? We admire Vijay, right? But then we admire them, right, Zainab? Right, Makarima? We admire them, right, Khadija? Now, your answer is very good. We admire people until their success lasts. Isn't that the lesson the narrator is trying to give you? You admire people only until their success lasts. So, if someone commits suicide, are they a success or are they a failure? If a person commits suicide, that person is a failure, right? So the admiration for an individual will only last until they are successful. The moment they become a failure, the admiration will stop. The moment Cory put a bullet through his head, the admiration stopped. Can you understand that? Can you understand the powerful message that Robinson has delivered? So we're done with our session. But before we end this, I want to tell you guys a story about one of my friends. Okay. Now, I can tell you about my background. I lost my parents when I was very young. And for a very long time, I did not have a family, okay? But then I had a friend called Zaman, all right? This is a real story, by the way. So I had nothing, okay? I have to be honest with you guys. I had zero, nothing, okay? For a very long time in my life. No money, no family, no parents. I really wanted a family. And then I had nothing basically in my life. And I had a friend called Zaman. And Zaman had everything, okay? He had parents, he had a sister, two brothers. He had a wife, he was married, had a kid. I really, really wanted a kid. So I remember for a very long time, I'm saying for like 5 years, I really wanted Zaman's life. I was like, oh my God, if I had this Zaman's life, I'd be so happy. If I had Zaman's life, I really wish I had parents. I really wish I had a family. I really wish I had a kid. I really wish I had a car. So Zaman had everything. But then unexpectedly, Zaman committed suicide. My friend committed suicide because he had some problems, by the way. He had a lot of problems. He had drug problems. He did some illegal, fraudulent businesses. Unfortunately, he had some drug problems, used ice. He did illegal businesses. He did fraudulent businesses. In Tamil, they say, "Ematra vela," right? So that caused his suicide. And when I heard about his suicide, I was shocked because every day I would be like, I wish I had Zaman's life. I wish I had Zaman's life. But now I don't wish that I had his life, right? I think you guys can understand. There are real Richard Corys. There are real Richard Corys. And even though now I don't have everything that Zaman had, I still have a lot. I still have a lot of things that I am happy to have. I'm lucky to have. So that is a good example in life where there are many Richard Corys. There are people you admire. You're like, I wish I was this person. I wish I had what this person had. I wish I can be like this person. But honestly, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what people are going through. And I think that you are lucky to be who you are. You are always lucky to be who you are. And I'm very sure there are people who envy you. There are people who want your life. So don't throw your life away. Not only does Richard Cory give you a lesson for your exam, it also gives you a lesson for your life. I personally know a Richard Cory. I knew a Richard Cory. And you also might have heard of people like Richard Cory, right, Khadija? There was an actor called Sushant Singh. He committed suicide. So in the end of the day, remember, you are very lucky to be you. And many people want your life right now. There are millions of people who will take your life if they were given the option. So don't throw away your life. I have one more question. Okay. Zaman was very successful, but I had one thing. He had many things that I did not have. Okay. He had like 20, 30 things that I wanted. But there was one thing I had that Zaman did not have. What was that? Can you guys guess? There was one thing that I have, and that is education. Right? Education I had, and that was the only thing that Zaman did not have. And I think that is why I am alive now, and Zaman is no more. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this seminar. I hope you learned about Richard Cory. Next week, we're going to have another seminar. It is going to be for the terrorist. He's watching, by Wishlava Zimborska. Drop me a WhatsApp message if you guys want any help with literature. And if you like, you can give me a feedback. You can go to our groups and you can drop your feedback in those groups. You can help Javed, sir, if you like only, if you have time. If not, completely fine. Absolutely, Makarima, we will be covering all 20 poems. This is poem number 2 that we have completed. Next week, I will see you with poem number 3. And until then, take care and all the best.